descent. His family, Iulus, going into the kings of Alba Longa. One should remember that the statue of Aeneas is that famous image of him carrying his father Anchises and holding the hand of his son Ascanius, Iulus. So the statue of Aeneas is also an image of piety. Augustus is hitting some of his key virtues, pietas, religion, pietas, the image of Aeneas, within his forum, and he is linking and justifying his own position to the early foundation of the Roman people. He's using the mythical past to justify the present. On the other side, we have a statue of Romulus. So we've moved from primordial time to Aeneas, through the kings of Alba Longa, and then the final king, one of the later kings of Alba Longa, his daughter gives birth to Romulus after Mars's rape of Ilia. And so all of these are interlinked. We're creating a triangle in time, if you like. Aeneas is the founder of the Roman people. Romulus is the founder, famously, of the Roman city. So again, these are Augustus's ancestors. Aeneas is the first founder. Romulus is the second founder. And as we will see, with Augustus in the middle, we have the third founder of Rome. So our final god Divi Filius relationship is, of course, Divus Iulius and Augustus himself. So Julius Caesar becomes a god, is deified after his death. He is the father, or the adopted father, of Augustus, who is here. So we now have Venus and Aeneas, Mars and Romulus, Divus Julius and Augustus. All three pairings hopefully will be resonating with you of pietas, of Divi Filius. All of the iconography, all of the imagery of Augustan propaganda is here in this forum. It is a very explicit example of what Augustus is trying to do, and it links very closely to the Aeneid. Think of the prophecy in Book 1 by Jupiter. Think of the pageant of Roman heroes in Book 6 of the Aeneid, and the shield in Book 8, which looks at Roman history beginning all the way up to Augustus. So the final idea of statues are these summi viri. We've got down here, we've got here, here, and here. So Augustus in the center is surrounded by summi viri. Summi viri are the greatest men. They are the men of Roman history. So time, as we said, begins here, moves here, and then we have these summi viri standing in a line looking at Augustus, each of them with their great exploits written under their statue. And so we have a history of Rome through its men, and of course the final man, the end of history, the Messiah, the one we've all been waiting for. As remember your Aeneid, he is the man, here he is, the one that you've heard prophesied is Augustus, standing, as we'll see, not standing, in the center of the forum. So again, this whole forum is very like Book 1, Book 6, Book 8 of the Aeneid. Please remember that. The whole of Roman history has been leading up to Augustus. And that final statue, the statue in the middle, as it says, is quadriga. That means he is in a 4-horse chariot. He is riding a 4-horse chariot. So hopefully that will be starting to ring bells and whistles in your head about Virtus. A chariot is a military thing. It is particularly linked to a triumph. Remember, in 29 BC, Augustus holds a triple triumph. When you triumph, you ride a chariot through the city of Rome to celebrate your military might. So we have pietas, we have Divi Filius, we have, of course, Virtus. A final aspect of these two virtues, particularly pietas, is the Mars in this temple. The one that the whole forum is dedicated to is Mars Ultor, or the Avenger. So the forum was dedicated in 42 BC after the Battle of Philippi, so avenging the death of Caesar by destroying Brutus and Cassius. And so the whole forum depends on this idea of vengeance, of pietas. This is what a son's job is to do. Remember your Greco-Roman mythology, Orestes. Think of Achilles in the underworld. Think of Telemachus, ultimately. So let's look at usage. I suppose the primary use is to house the temple of Mars Ultor, Mars the Avenger. But there are a number of other usages which also are very useful for your exam. Firstly, the Roman Republican Forum was very crowded, very busy, and so the Forum of Augustus allowed for legal proceedings. So there's a lot of space, a lot of rooms in which to carry out legal proceedings. Hopefully you are now thinking of Augustus's virtue of justitia. What I find most interesting is the Forum of Augustus was also the place where young men donned their toga virilis. So young men, boys, children, become men in the Forum of Augustus. They shed their bulla, the symbol of their childhood, and they don their toga of manhood, toga of virilis. So, in a sense, Augustus is controlling masculinity. He is controlling all men. This is when boys become adults, they become full Roman citizens, they take part in civic society, and it is all done under the auspices of Augustus. Think about one of Augustus's key virtues, which is virtus, and the stem of virtus is vir, man. So ultimately virtus means masculinity, manhood, the things of a man. And so this is almost the ultimate expression of virtus, because he controls Roman masculinity. It's quite an interesting idea. On a similar line, the Senate meet here at the Temple of Mars Ultor whenever they discuss war and foreign policy. So any decisions to go to war with a foreign nation are based here. This is also the place where war is declared. And so famously, you've probably seen in films, when war is declared, a pilum is cast down in this area in the forum to show that Rome is going to war with a foreign nation. That doesn't really matter, but the important thing is war. This is central to war, and Augustus is the man who controls war and peace. All of it is done not in the Roman Republican Forum, in the traditional area, or anything like that. It is done, again, under the auspices of Augustus. He is over the top and enveloping everybody like an umbrella. Everything is controlled through him and goes through him. The final usage I want to talk about is that after the inauguration of the temple, the Parthian standards were stored here. So these are the standards that Crassus lost at the Battle of Carrhae in 53, that Tiberius, but Augustus got back from the Parthians in 20 BC, one of his greatest successes militarily or diplomatically, and the standards that are celebrated on the Prima Porta Augustus. So there is a direct link between the Prima Porta Augustus and the Forum of Augustus. These standards were stored in the Temple of Mars Ultor. Again, please remember that. that. So, the Forum of Augustus is a clear expression of pietas, all stores. So, there are three types of pietas. To familial pietas, to your family, so this is about avenging his father, Mars Ultor, remember. To the gods, it is a celebration of Rome's divine mandate. There is Venus here, there is Mars here, and then there's the newest god, Divus Julius here. A celebration, or the third aspect is the state. Of course, this is a building for the state, for the people. It is a building which controls warfare and expansion and foreign policy. Equally, pietas is celebrated in the image of Aeneas. Cannot overestimate how important that image of Aeneas is. So we've got pietas. Then we have virtus. Obviously, it's Mars, the god of war. It's a celebration of masculinity, Roman masculinity. It's a celebration of Roman warfare. And most importantly, of course, it's a celebration of Augustus as the controller of war and peace, his virtus. We have justitia, legal proceedings, justice, how important that is with Augustus, which we will come on to later in the term. And finally, as I've said, it is a pure celebration of Augustus as a Messiah. The whole of Roman history, from the primordial beginnings, through Aeneas, through Romulus, through all the great men of Roman history, everything has led up to the coming of Augustus, the man who brings peace to the world.